Welcome to Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And today we are jumping into the NFC individual draft class reviews. That's right, team by team. We're going to go through all 16 of those teams and just be talking about their draft classes. We did the AFC in our last episode. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on, so we apologize for that. But, this quarantine life has been getting in the way. Yeah. Stuff like that. So we'll be talking about that today. But of course, Tyler, we're going to start off with quick hits. And I want to start off with some news out of the SEC, the conference that quote unquote just means more to us. Which, by the way, if you don't know this, it's Tyler and I's least favorite ad campaign ever.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, it does mean more to us because our team is in the SEC.
Right.
But, it is we're not a big fan of the whole "it just means more" campaign.
Yeah, we're just not. We love the SEC. Don't get us wrong. It is our conference, like Tyler said. But all college football to us matters, and the whole "it just means more" thing is a little bit excludes the other 4 Power 5 conferences and all of the other Group of 5 conferences. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go back to that.
SEC. In fairness, if you're trying to get people mad, it's
a prime way to do it. Hey, we're talking about it, right?
Yeah, good point.
So the SEC on May 22nd, it is currently Friday, May 15th. So in 7 days, next Friday, the SEC will be voting to see if they will reopen athletic facilities for voluntary workouts on June 1st. Now, there's an article on ESPN. I was watching SportsCenter today around lunchtime, and they interviewed Lincoln Riley. And Lincoln Riley, head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners, Boomer Sooner, Lincoln Riley was saying that he thinks it would be a mistake to try to rush these students back too quickly. The SEC, optics-wise, seems to not really care. Tyler, what do we think about this? Is June 1st too early, given how the situation is going? Because that's in 2 weeks. We're in the middle of May, literally the middle of May. It's the 15th, so that's 2 weeks away. It's 2 weeks away. A good time to safely reopen for voluntary workouts?
So, I mean, I would say, I guess, yes. I mean, it is a general, all of these things that get talked about are just, plans. People need to have plans, they need to have it discussed, but they're voting about it, and I think on a general scope, yes, but it's just also no, because I know how the world works. And there is no such thing as a voluntary college football workout. These coaches have missed the entirety of spring practice. Mm-hmm. They're not. I'm putting air quotes. There's no voluntary workouts.
It's like when your mom says, "If you get a chance, could you please clean the kitchen if you want?" You know damn well you better get that kitchen cleaned.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. If it really was in a real. If it was what it says, voluntary workouts, they're open. You don't have to come by, but you can work out if you wish. Mm-hmm. I'd be in favor of that because things have been getting better. We still don't know a lot. The country is trying to reopen. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an expert,
right?
Because there's a high possibility for a second wave. So it's a very complicated decision. But the problem is that I just know that, and not just college football coaches, all college coaches would probably be like. No, we missed an entire spring.
Yeah, and
get your butt in the weight room.
Listen, and on the side of wanting to get ready for whatever type of season that we have this year, I understand the coaches, but we shouldn't have to put the coaches in the position to kind of have that moral dilemma. The athletic directors and the SEC as a conference should just be like, hey, listen, we're gonna put a button on this. There are rumors around, not rumors, but there are reports saying that coaches are saying they could get everything done to be in tip-top shape for summer camp between 4 to 6 weeks, with an emphasis more on the 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. I know Dan Mullen said that in a press conference about a month ago. So, yeah, I get it. Time is of the essence, but we want to make sure everyone's safe because it does us no good to rush back and then, something happened. Boom, we got to shut everything down again, and then we got to go back to square one. Does us no good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to another part of Quick Hits. Way back when, in the 90s, when Coach Spurrier deemed Ben Hill Griffin Stadium the swamp, His famous saying was, "Only Gators get out alive," and that is very true. It's something that is played before the team comes out every game. According to Governor Ron DeSantis of the state of Florida and athletic director Scott Strickland, I guess other teams can get out of the swamp alive. Apparently, it is possible. There's an ESPN report based on what AD Scott Strickland and Governor Ron DeSantis said that Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, aka the Swamp, could be used to house NFL games. How do we feel about this, Tyler?
I mean, as previous Gainesville residents, I'm like, good for you, Gainesville economy. Like,
oh hell yeah! Are you kidding?
Are you kidding? Like, God,
Tom Brady at Leo's? Come on! Oh, you know what we would do? You know what we would do?
Go what?
Any team the Dolphin plays, I'm gonna infiltrate that Hilton that's on 34th. I know, because that's where they're gonna stay. That's the only place you stay.
It's right
they're gonna
there.
stay on the Hilton there, and I'm gonna grab a few players and be like, "Yo, let's go to mid." Like, come on, bro.
Come on,
like
like
nothing's gonna happen. It's a college town. You'll be fine.
Yeah, no. Oh, that'd be so good. I mean, it makes sense. Like, I get it from the University of Florida's perspective. This state is opening up currently, and University of Florida can use this as a way to make more money, considering it didn't make any money in the spring from an athletic department revenue.
Right.
So, I get it. I imagine that I do find it funny. This is a whole point of emphasis. Florida has a stadium to give away, and the University of Miami is currently playing in an NFL stadium.
Wow! Would you look at that?
I had to go there.
Would you look at that?
But it's interesting because I never really thought I'd hear the governor of Florida say this.
I just never thought an NFL game would ever be played in the swamp.
Me neither.
And given even if they decide to do this at Doak, if they decide to do this at
it doesn't change it. It's so weird.
Yeah, at FAU Stadium, at UCF Stadium, like, it's weird. It's weird. It's gonna be a weird vibe. Like, I'm gonna see those student section seats that'll probably be empty if that's the case, but I'm going to be like, this is crazy. They're playing a regular season NFL football game 20 yards away from where I have been drunk and cheering for the Gators more times than I can count in my life. Like, this is crazy.
It's just, I can't. It's crazy because the craziest thing would be if we get a world where NFL teams are hosting games in the swamp, but fans are allowed to attend.
Are or are not?
Are. Like,
okay.
That would be so weird. Now, the funny thing is that we're both fans of Florida teams, so the likelihood that our team would be there is so slim.
Yeah, yeah. We're talking, honestly, here's my thing. I think, and here's my proposal for them not to play in the swamp. The Jets, being a New York team, would then come down and end up playing in the swamp. They would go 12-4 in my opinion. Half of their roster is former Gators. They know exactly how that stadium works. LaMichael Pirine is gonna bust a run to the outside and run up the field and go, "Oh, I did this against Auburn. I know exactly what I'm doing here."
How crazy would it be to be a University of Florida player and your first professional game is in your college stadium?
It's like I never left.
Yeah.
But
there's something to monitor going forward.
For sure.
I just don't even know what to think about it. Like,
yeah, it would be surreal, right? These are the kind of things,
surreal.
And these are the kinds of things that are newsworthy in this quarantine day and age, in this Corona reality we're living in right now. This part of the simulation we're in. So just thought that was interesting. Be a cool thing. Mm-hmm. All right, last thing on quick hits before we hit the draft classes in the NFC. There is a transfer to announce, Tyler.
Yes.
Ex-Florida offensive lineman Isaiah Walker has transferred from Florida to Miami. Now, this is big because Isaiah Walker was a member of that really good 2020 recruiting class. He enrolled in January, but then he entered his name in the portal on May 4th.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the weird things about this is that, like, it's definitely not a great sign to have somebody transfer to your rival within 4 months of them arriving on your campus.
Correct.
But in fairness, I mean, you're looking at what it is, like, half that time has been spent back home, not on campus because of coronavirus. And There's a lot of things that go into this, but it's odd because, I mean, this is such a unique offseason and a unique situation to be in because of coronavirus situation. And I'm like, I'm not surprised if we see more of things, not necessarily from Florida, but more things like this from other schools in the future where, like, some recruits transfer to different schools that are closer to home because they've been spending all that time at home. Like,
and in Isaiah Walker's case, he's from Miami Norland. Miami Norland's a football factory in South Florida. Like, he just ended up wanting to, I guess, go home, you know? Maybe he spent what is it? Classes got canceled, in like April?
About March.
So he spent a month.
Two-ish months.
I guarantee you, because this was a 4-star recruit, 6'4", 275 pounds, one of our top signees in the class, and according to ESPN, they're expecting him to compete for playing time his first year. So I kind of feel like if he would have had the benefit of a spring football camp, which is the reason that you enroll early, I think he would have stayed. I think this is a casualty of the coronavirus situation. And you can't fault a guy for wanting to be close to home. And you don't know what his home life is like. You don't know if maybe, God forbid, there's something that ESPN wants to run on his draft day with a sick family member or something. And God forbid that happens. But, you want to stay closer to home in case anything happens, especially in this situation, So I don't fault him.
Oh, yeah.
I wish him nothing but the best. I hope our defensive line runs through you if we ever get the chance to play you again. But wish him nothing but the best,
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty. That finishes up our quick hits. We've talked all the college football. We've talked about Tyler. Let's move to the pros. Let's go ahead and go division by division in the NFC. We'll talk about these draft classes. Let's start in the North, and let's start with the Packers.
Moldy cheese, baby.
Moldy cheese. Let's just say this.
What is this draft class?
This draft class is incredible.
I have not heard of about 80% of these people.
Listen,
have you heard of these play? Go ahead.
Okay, so let's start with Jordan Love. The Packers trade up with the Dolphins from pick 30 to pick 26, and they give up a 4th rounder to secure Jordan Love. We all think that they're trading up.
They traded up. I completely forgot about that.
It's not even the fact that they took Jordan Love. It's the fact that they took Jordan Love, they traded up, which means that they were concerned another team was going to take him, which, spoiler alert, I don't think another team was going to take him in that first round. And Aaron Rodgers is in his 36, I think I read. He's 36. He said he wants to play into his 40s. You got to get that man some weapons. You got to get that man some people to throw to. And in a deepest wide receiver class, they didn't take a single wide receiver.
Yeah, the most they did was they took a tight end, Josiah DeGuara from Cincinnati, who wasn't Harrison Bryant, which I know. I'll just say it for you. You don't have to say it.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
And they got A.J. Dillon, who's like a good player, but they
got Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
And that's a problem for me, for my fantasy team, because I got Aaron Jones on my fantasy team. So what does that tell me?
A.J. Dillon, caught 13 passes in his entire Boston College career? That's just not the type of running back he is.
A.J. Dillon has injured his hamstrings, I want to say, once every 4 games in college. And I would know this because he was on my college fantasy team.
Yeah. And it's not a single wide receiver when you're throwing to nobodies. Respectfully, they're not really nobodies. Everybody who plays in the NFL is a good yada. But now, I mean, in a normal team building sense, I like that they put a lot of stress on their line of scrimmage. They drafted a linebacker with the 49ers ran through them for 300 yards. But not for this team. This team has a good O-line. Their defense they play a super pass heavy defense. And I mean that works for the most part, but it's just the biggest thing was this offense could have gone from okay to great. They had added more receiving talent.
Right. And here's the thing, you have to look at the situation in the first round. At pick 26, when they traded up, you and I both thought, oh, they're going to take Patrick Queen, who went, I think, 1 or 2 picks after. I think the next pick, 27. And we were like, perfect, that's a smart pick. Yeah, it's a deep wide receiver class. They need wide receiver help, but they're going to push it to later on because it's so deep. They're going to secure one of the 2 really good linebackers in this class, arguably the best one, big hole, perfect. So then they take Jordan Love. That's the thing. It's not even the fact that they took a quarterback to back up Rodgers and to be the successor. It's that they took him in the first round. They took him over up to extreme positions of need, and throughout the rest of the draft, they didn't even take a single wide receiver. Like, they didn't even take a flyer in the sixth round. They had 3 6th-round draft picks, Tyler, and they took an offensive tackle and 2 interior offensive linemen. Which I get, team building, Wisconsin, cheese, big men, run the ball, get it. But not when you got Aaron Rodgers. He's arguably the best quarterback, arguably the most talented quarterback of all time.
I mean, so I imagine it comes from a stat perspective of, I suppose, for some reason, that the management and coaching staff believe that they have the guys at wide receiver to win. They have Devontae Adams, and that's great, but that's about it.
Right.
They probably believe they can have that. So maybe their idea is then, okay, we're going to make all these other parts of this team super strong so that Aaron Rodgers can lift up his part and we'll have a really good team overall. Which I get, but I get the logic, or at least the thought process.
I don't agree, though.
I completely don't agree. Because in today's NFL, you need a passing offense. And
for sure.
This was bad. And, let's just break down Jordan Love as a prospect. I mean, I don't think Jordan Love is that good.
Jordan Love, here's the thing, and now flip it to Jordan Love's situation. Jordan Love, what he needed was to sit behind an experienced quarterback for 2 seasons, a year, maybe 2, to then take the reins of a stable organization that has everything protected around him. On paper, this is a fantastic move for Jordan Love, the player. But you got to realize that Jordan Love is not orchestrating the Packers draft class. The Packers are orchestrating their draft class. So it shouldn't matter that, yes, this is the perfect situation for Jordan Love. The risk reward here for trading up, giving up a 4th-round draft pick, right, which could have been one of those wide receivers, right, giving up a 4th rounder there, and moving up to then take him isn't the smartest use of your draft capital. I'm sorry. It's not a good idea. No, and maybe they were just on a high from being, 13-3 last year?
Yeah. Maybe
they were just on a high, and cool, then that's just irresponsible because you should be able to look forward and see what you're going to improve on. I don't know, man.
That's the thing is that it is good for Jordan Love, but you're drafting a player when you have Aaron Rodgers, who has said he wants to play into his 40s. So you'd imagine, unless he falls off a cliff, you're going to re-sign him soon.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you just drafted a person in the first round that you hope never sees the field.
In a best case scenario.
In a best case scenario, you're like, he never sees the field. And I get it. If somehow the Packers beat the odds and pull an Aaron Rodgers again, they do it a second time. They go from a Hall of Famer to another Hall of Famer. Jordan Love is that person somehow. Then you know what? No Packers fan is going to care if Jordan Love wins the Super Bowl. Yeah. It wasn't Aaron Rodgers.
You're right. You're 100%.
But the thing is, Jordan Love had a great year in college at Utah State when he had good coaching behind him. And he had a terrible year last year when he had bad coaching. Or just not excellent. Right. But I think his biggest problem is being able to read the field and see who's open. And you could, I guess, learn that from Aaron Rodgers. You could, I guess, learn that from a good coach. But I break down, this is my personal opinion. I think that at this point it is coaches might think they can break down the way a player thinks and build it back up. Yeah. And I don't think you can at this point. I think you just have to work around what you have. And
Aaron Rodgers is a player where it's not like people. You ever been around someone that's like, oh, I can do this. This is very easy for me. And you say, cool, show me. And they say, all right. And then they try to explain their own thought process. And then they realize, I can't explain it. I just feel it within.
Yeah.
That's how I feel Rodgers is. The decision making of Aaron Rodgers is like. That's what I feel it's like.
Yeah.
So how are you going to teach that to a player if Rodgers is just like, oh, just throw the ball there? That's the obvious choice, of course.
Yeah.
What's his name? Jordan Love may not think that way. Now, granted, he may develop it and he may go in, and that's fine, and I hope the best for him. But he hasn't shown that he has that. And when you have a generational talent like Aaron Rodgers, you can't just teach those generational innate. It's the intangibles, right? An intangible is a non-teachable. You can't teach that to someone. So, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. And last thing I want to say about the Packers before I let you wrap it up is I just don't think they learned from the Tom Brady mistake. They need to look at the Patriots and realize, what did the Patriots do wrong at the end of Tom Brady's career in New England? They didn't give him the weapons around. They didn't surround him with the right weapons. They basically tried to run him out of town. And then what ended up happening was he ended up proving them wrong. And once he started to see that it was going south, he dipped for Tampa. So don't be surprised if that happens with Rodgers.
I mean, if the Packers want, I'll trade for Aaron Rodgers right now. They won't give him up.
I'll give him Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I see. You can say that. I love Gardner Minshew, but I'll take Aaron Rodgers.
100%.
Well, it's one of those things where, I mean, when this happened, I was like, Aaron Rodgers request a trade.
At that point,
get out. And I say this. I hope it works out because I have friends that are Packers fans and I want them to be happy. But I don't think that your chances of pulling another Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers are very high. And I don't think that you should have been going in that direction. Now, what this all means for this upcoming year for the Packers, I don't know if that means that much for this year. I think they'll be about the same team, but they won't. I think they overachieved with their record last year. Mm-hmm. They'll be closer to a 10-16 this year.
Right. I agree. The question is, can the defense, can the improved defense stop that?
The impact of this draft class will probably come into effect more so, not this upcoming season, but the next season after that. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, they do need wide receivers right now.
Right.
But they're going to really need wide receivers in 2 years if they don't address it. But
For sure.
All right, let's move on.
All right, let's move on to the Vikings, who had a huge draft class. There's way too many picks on here. 15 picks. They picked the most out of anyone.
What the heck?
Listen, I just think it's a very just mediocre draft class. I mean, it's good because they got a lot of the more...
They can't keep all these players.
No, they can't.
That's what makes it so hard for me to evaluate.
Yeah. But I do like the... It turns out that they ended up, in my opinion, winning the Stephon Diggs trade because they replaced Stephon Diggs with Justin Jefferson, and then again with their second pick in the first round, they take Jeff Gladney to shore up that cornerback spot. They just re-upped, which was smart.
I like a lot of their early picks. Took 2 corners, took a tackle, took a wide receiver. I think that was smart. Hey, Nate Stanley, Iowa.
I was gonna say
gonna replace Kirk Cousins. No.
Nate Stanley will be known in Minnesota as the quarterback who bridged the gap between Kirk Cousins and Sam Howell. That's what's going to be. And I'm fine with that. I'm
okay with that. It's just...
Tyler, if Sam Howell ends up in Minnesota, oh my God.
I am going to be, y'all will not be able to handle this. I'll call it for 2 years ahead of time. It'll be check the tape. Go back and check the tape.
Run it back.
I've been saying it for years. Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of just players in the back. The back half of this draft class is just depth, basically. I can't imagine they'll keep all of these people.
It looked like they went best player available at each spot
I'm
in rounds 5 and 6.
I'm surprised they didn't trade up with any of their picks, but
neither did I.
Do you need 7th round picks?
Do you need 4 7-rounders? No, you don't.
No one needs 4 7-rounders.
Which is why I love that the Dolphins traded their 7th for a 6th next year. Shout out to the Finns. Any player in here that you think is going to make an immediate impact? I want to say besides Justin Jefferson and Jeff Gladney, because they are going to make an immediate impact. We know this.
I do think that Cameron Dantzler, Mississippi State, the other corner, I think he's going to make an impact.
Nice. I like DJ Wannum out of South Carolina. If you remember back to the rainy game that we played where Jacob Copeland had the winning touchdown that Trask ended up throwing, was in the rain, and then the South Carolina fans were throwing stuff on the field. You remember that from last year?
Yeah.
He was giving Trask some pressure, and he was forcing Trask to kind of step up in the pocket, which is what made us realize, Trask can actually do this. So I like DJ Wannum out of South Carolina. I think he'll make an impact.
He's good.
Yeah. All right, let's... You want to move to Nick Foles' current team? Da Bears. This is a draft class that is this is a draft class that is seeing the repercussions from the Trubisky trade.
It's not good. I'll just say it.
It is what it is. My favorite pick of theirs is Jalen Johnson, the cornerback out of Utah in the second round.
Yeah, he's the best one.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond that, I don't really know a lot of these players as much. Darnell Mooney's got some potential, the wide receiver from Tulane.
Yeah.
I mean, they drafted Cole Kmet when... Didn't they Correct me if I'm wrong. Did they not just trade for Jimmy Graham?
I think they did, but I think they realized that Jimmy Graham is old.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, I just sneezed. My bad. Live podcasting.
They currently have.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just get to. They have 10 tight ends on the roster. Now that they've drafted Cole Kmet.
That ain't it, Chief.
I love myself a good tight end. Who doesn't? But like, what do you need with that many tight ends? Loosen up, man.
I just don't understand why you would need that many. You know? 10 tight ends is just too much.
Yeah, you need to loosen up.
And I love me some tight end 5-yard out route on NCAA 14. Don't get me wrong, but
oh yeah,
we don't need that much.
Wide trail, baby. It's just not a good draft class.
Yeah. Well, Darnell Mooney, I think you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
He could have an impact. He could see the field. Who's throwing the football to him? We won't know yet, but
I mean, it's either Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles, and
I feel like that's the Spider-Man meme. They're the same. Yeah, one's more expensive than the other. It's pretty much it.
Oh, by the way, yeah, Cam Newton is still a free agent, and you traded for Nick Foles.
Cam Newton's still a free agent. You traded for Nick Foles. Good for Jacksonville. Horrible for Chicago.
Do we
need to keep talking about the Bears?
No, let's move on.
Yeah, please and thank you. All right, let's go to Detroit, where the Lions take Jeffrey Okudah as expected, and they also take DeAndre Swift. Now, my big question here is what's going to happen between DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson. I'm not asking for anyone in particular. For example, let's say someone had Kerryon Johnson in their Dynasty Fantasy Football League, just hypothetically, right? Like, what would you, like, Tyler, what would you do? You know, if hypothetically one was to have Kerryon Johnson.
Pure speculation.
Pure speculation.
I mean, the crazy thing is that Matt Stafford's still on the team, so I can't imagine them running the ball that much. I think DeAndre Swift is better catching out of the backfield than Kerryon Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit faster.
Agreed.
But I still think that Kerryon Johnson's probably going to be their number one, which it's like I almost think it's like DeAndre Swift is a good enough running back that in round 2, almost any team that picked him, I'd be like, yeah, he'll probably do well there.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm also kind of sitting there like the Lions. It's just I really didn't really think running back was an area that they.
I didn't think it was a necessity, you know. And even then, like maybe they wanted someone else to pair up with. I mean, I know they had. I forgot who it was that they had as their secondary back because Kerryon got hurt during the season last year, and they had someone else taking the carries. So maybe they felt like, you know what, a player this kind of talent available on the board, rookie contract, so you got him for 4 years. Let's just pull the trigger here and just pair him up, the two of them. You know?
Yeah, and I think what they probably want to do is because last season Matt Stafford got hurt, and let's not forget that the Lions actually were pretty good last season for the 5 games that Matt Stafford was healthy.
Yeah, he was.
They beat the Chiefs. They technically didn't win, but like they
didn't lose. Well, they did, but
they beat the Chiefs in the People's Court.
Exactly. Yes.
It does not actually say win on that column, but to the People's. But then Matt Stafford goes down and they get the number 3 overall pick. So I think maybe what they're trying to do here, and they focus a lot on the offensive line. They drafted another running back, Jason Huntley, out of New Mexico State.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe what they're trying to do is try to be less reliant on Matt Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
Like, still utilizing his skills, because they have an okay wide receiver room.
Yeah.
And they got Quintez Cephas, who is good.
I like more Logan Stenberg out of Kentucky, the guard.
He's
it's
good.
important to protect your quarterback. And we talked about it already where this Kentucky offensive line, like they've been churning out good linemen for the past 2-3 years. Mark Stoops has a really good offensive line factory running there, so they'll do good there. Quintez Cephas is good. Jason Huntley could surprise people. I don't see him making the roster just given that DeAndre Swift is so good, but I would see him as someone if someone gets hurt throughout the year, see someone can pick him up off waivers. I think he'll find a home this year.
Yeah,
I think. So.
So, like, good draft class. I see what they're going for in the sense of, trying to protect Stafford and then trying to build a little bit more of a balanced attack so that if they have to go without him, they're more likely to win.
Right.
But the thing is, the Lions are just in a tough place, so it's going to be hard to have a home run, draft.
Agreed. All right, Tyler. Let's head to the South. Let's go to Tampa. Let's go to Tampa. Talk about the Bucks.
Do you mean Tampa Bay?
I do not mean Tampa. I mean Tampa.
Good. We can continue with the podcast.
Thank you very much. Was that a test?
Yes, that was a test. I was testing you and you passed.
Tyler, I would never willingly name something.
It's for redundancy's sake. Okay.
Anyway, well, they had.
I'm not a robot, but the computer keeps asking me those weird checkbox robot questions. Like, are you a robot? Is there a bus in this picture? No, that's a train. I've been doing this for a long time. It's for redundancy's sake. Anyway,
go
ahead.
I want to say that metaphorically, the Bucks had 2 first-round picks. The real first-round pick was Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa. Great pick, is going to do really well. And then that first-round pick is going to protect their metaphorical first-round pick, and that's Thomas Brady. So I want you to realize that in this offseason, they have acquired Tom Brady, a washed, I said it, he's washed, washed Rob Gronkowski.
Absolutely.
They beefed up the offensive line with one of the 4 surefire linemen, Tristan Wirfs. They got a stud of a safety in the second round in Antoine Winfield Jr.
Love it.
And they found that additional wide receiver in Tyler Johnson out of Minnesota, who's also really good.
That was probably, in my opinion, the steal of this draft.
They had a good class.
They got Keyshawn Vaughn, who'd be a good supplemental running back, and I think this was a good draft class.
Agreed.
It is so crazy to me how the Bucks flipped everything around.
They did a complete 180 this offseason. I saw something on PFF saying that the Bucks had one of the greatest offseasons in NFL history.
Yeah, and we'll see how it bears out into the regular season because we've never seen Tom Brady with anybody that's not Bill Belichick.
Correct.
But Bruce Arians is a good coach. And
Bruce Arians is an offensive mastermind.
They're going to be a good team.
Yeah.
And I am just... Ugh.
It's funny because it looks
Medium income Bucks fan Tyler Renfro is going to be insufferable.
He's going to be a 1%er pretty soon. He is. He's going to be complaining about his tax rate in a bit.
Ooh, there it is.
Oof, I know. It's funny because the South has two teams that are division, potentially NFC Super Bowl contenders, and 2 teams that are all right, where in the top 10 are they picking next year?
Yeah, basically.
So it's interesting. I love this draft class.
Me too.
Keyshawn Vaughn is also really good at a Vanderbilt. We talked about him in our preview episode for before the draft. He's really good. Do you want to just head to New Orleans?
Let's do it.
All right, you want a New Orleans hot take?
Oh, give it to me.
The best draft class in the league.
The New Orleans Saints?
Yep. Had the best draft out of all 32 teams.
With 4 picks?
You know what they did? Tyler?
Give it to me.
They strengthened their offensive line with the best interior offensive lineman, Cesar Ruiz out of Michigan. Right?
Good pick.
What was the Saints' problem in the playoffs this year? The interior of their offensive line. So they pick Cesar Ruiz. They're going to move their center from this year over to guard. They're going to slot Cesar Ruiz to play center like he did at Michigan. He's a force of a man. He's going to do fine. What else was another problem on the defense side of the ball? Linebackers. They draft Zach Bond, who is arguably the best linebacker outside of Kenneth Murray and
Patrick Queen.
That
was also a really good pick.
Who we thought they were going to take Patrick Queen in the first round, but it looked like they saw light at the end of the tunnel. They said, we can do with Zach Bond. They take those 2. It
worked out for them.
They made one mistake. They didn't draft Harrison Bryant at 105. He went 10 picks later at 115. But they get a good tight end at a date, and he's a project. He doesn't necessarily need to produce right now. They can work into it and stuff. And then they get their Taysom Hill replacement in Tommy Stevens. This is the most efficient.
He's the Taysom Hill replacement.
This is the most efficient draft class in the league this year, and to me, I think it's the best one. I think for what the Saints, no picks wasted for what the Saints needed, for what the quality of players that they got for what they needed at those positions. They hit a home run, hit a grand slam, Tyler.
I don't know about that.
I do.
Well, you want to know? Have you heard this story about them drafting Tommy Stevens?
I have not.
Okay.
Should I strap in?
This for me. This is a paraphrase. This, from a purely content perspective, this does make it the best draft class. So
Pause. Does it include Mike Leach? Because we're talking Mississippi State.
No. But so Tommy Stevens, this is very paraphrased, but this is from what I read. So Tommy Stevens had an agreement, and a lot of players that are in the fringe of getting drafted and not drafted have one of these. Had an agreement to sign an undrafted free agent contract with the Panthers.
Okay.
And Sean Payton called him up and was like, "Hey, can you, I really like you. You should come sign with us." And he's like, "No, I can't. I already deal with the Panthers." And they called him again. It was just and Sean Payton's like, "No, you're gonna be the Taysom Hill replacement. I'm gonna slot you in here. I'm gonna develop you. It's gonna be great."
Wait. He told him you're the Taysom Hill replacement?
I am maybe making that up, but but long story short,
okay.
He's trying to get Tommy Stevens to sign with his team
as an undrafted free agent.
As an undrafted free agent, but Tommy Stevens said, "No, I already have an agreement to he had a not official agreement, but a spoken word agreement to sign with the Panthers."
He's a good man. He's a man of his word.
Yeah. So, if you understand how the NFL works, the Panthers are the NFC South rival, and Sean Payton wasn't going to let that happen. So he, in the draft, traded up in the 7th round and took Tommy Stevens just so that the Panthers couldn't have him.
So you mean to tell me that the reason the Saints traded up for this player was because their division rival was going to sign him as an undrafted free agent?
Yes, here's the best part. Here's the best part. Peyton said he texted Joe Brady, his former assistant and former LSU passing game coordinator, and said, "Not so fast."
Oh my god! Please tell me he texted him in the Lee Corso voice. Not so fast, man.
not so fast. It's see, that's why I'm from a content perspective, this is the greatest draft class.
This might be the greatest draft class of all time after that story.
It's just incredible. He wouldn't let Taysom Hill you're not going to sign with a rival. I'm just going to take you.
I absolutely
just love that he texted Joe Brady. Yeah, but that's my analysis of the Saints draft class.
I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said, Tyler. I think I've been vindicated in saying I said this was the best draft class before I knew this Tommy Stevens story. This is incredible. I love it. Let's move on.
The lead course, so not so fast.
Not so fast.
Right as you send the pick in.
Oh my god. Well, let's go on to the losers of the Tommy Stevens sweepstakes, the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers drafted a defense.
They did. They drafted most of its defense.
Most of it, Tyler? Everyone was on defense.
Well, you can feel the defense almost with the players that they
it's like they missed out on Isaiah Simmons, so they drafted an entire defense so that they could
replace every single spot that he could play in. They're really in their feels about that.
They said, could we take him at 7, or could we just get 7 players that play defense?
Yeah, they took Derek Brown, which is a good pick.
It's a phenomenal pick.
They had the worst run defense in the league last year, and now that should solve that. They took Yetur Gross-Matos from Penn State.
Great pick.
I like it. I like a lot of these picks.
Me too.
Jeremy Chin, Troy Pride.
Can we talk about Kevin Robinson?
We can, yeah.
Because Kenny Robinson is not a West Virginia player. Kenny Robinson enrolled at West Virginia, then got in some trouble. He then got in some trouble, and so instead of sitting out a year, transferring, going JUCO, all that stuff, the XFL was starting up. He was like, I'm going to go get a quick mini bag and play in the XFL for a year and then declare myself for the draft after that. And let me just say, Kenny Robinson, welcome to the Sideline Judgment Finesse Hall of Fame. Welcome, my friend.
First and only player from the XFL ever drafted by the NFL.
Incredible.
A flex.
A great job. He proved that the traditional way of getting to the league and staying in your school, and if it doesn't work out there, you transfer to another school, may not be the only option for someone to make it to the league. Now, granted, the XFL is bankrupt and is not happening, and they don't want to pay their commissioner, but when it was available, when it was an option, and I hope it restarts one day, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. It proved it was possible. So shout out to Kenny Robinson. Now, granted, he did get in some legal trouble, and I don't exactly know what that is. So I'm not condoning whatever it was that he got in trouble for.
We're not gonna. Let's not comment on that.
I'm just.
I don't know either.
I'm just saying, it was very cool to see a player. Something didn't work out at the college level for whatever reason. There was another avenue for a talented player to get another opportunity.
Yeah,
I was very happy with that. So. And good on the Panthers for doing their scouting, not just in the NFL, but also realizing, hey, these guys can play over here too. Yeah. So good for him.
So I mean, for us overall for the Panthers draft, it's a good class for the defense. Mm-hmm. Which the Panthers they're not going to be good this year. They're building.
Yeah.
They're trying to build. So they got Joe Brady. They've got some offensive pieces. They've signed some players. They signed Robbie Anderson. They signed Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think... Apologies. I don't think that they're going to bottom out, per se.
Right.
Because I think Teddy Bridgewater's a little too good to...
I think so as well.
Bottom out. But they're not going to be contending for the playoffs anytime this season. So.
No, but they're clearly just building a defense. Which is right. I mean... Listen, another draft like this next year.
In that division where your opposing quarterbacks are Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Matt Ryan, who occasionally can be awesome.
Right.
Matt Ryan won an MVP and then had a terrible season.
Yeah.
Like, he's just very capable of just killing.
He's up and down.
But like that's the worst of your opposing three quarterbacks in your division.
Exactly.
Who won an MVP.
No, but I think you're right. I think in the situation that they're in, first year for Matt Rule got a 7-year contract. Like, he's got time to work this out. Like, don't stress.
You know who doesn't have time to work this out?
Who?
Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff and the Falcons.
I know.
Apparently. What do some of your Falcons friends think about this draft, Sergio?
You know what? I'd rather not put my boy Day-Day in a bad light. So I'm just going to say he wasn't too thrilled with the A.J. Terrell pick.
Yeah, A.J. Terrell at 16 was a little surprising to me.
Yeah, and it's not that he's a bad cornerback. It's that he definitely could have gone in the late first, early second round. Yeah. Like, if you really wanted him, I'm pretty sure you could have traded up into the early second, and you could have taken someone else at 16, like maybe Caleb Chason.
Yeah,
who ended up with you guys. But I guess they did address the defensive line with Marlon Davidson in the second round.
But like Marlon Davidson played edge in college, but he can't do that at the NFL.
I don't think he has
place is going to be inside.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to put him in the inside, so it's very interesting. My boy Day-Day did like Marlon Davidson. He liked that pick.
I think he's a good player.
I don't know. I just feel like I feel like the time has come for Dan Quinn in Atlanta, and the more we are removed from that Falcons Super Bowl run, the more we see that it was really Kyle Shanahan's offense combined with Dan Mullen solely focusing on defense, and I think he's trying to put his imprint on the offensive side of the ball, and it's not working.
Yeah, because I do think that Dan Quinn is like a good football mind and a good coach. But
he's a great defensive mind.
I think he's just been put in a situation now with Kyle Shanahan leaving where he hasn't been able to replace him with a good enough offensive coordinator.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, they did draft a center, Matt Hennessy, out of Temple. Mm-hmm. So like, great last name. Jersey sales would be great, but
jersey sales would be incredible.
But wins maybe not so much.
Exactly.
Let's move on to the NFL. You have anything else to say about the
Falcons? I'm good on the Falcons. Unfortunately, if I was to be a betting man, I would allegedly place Dan Quinn to be the first coach to get fired this year. Unfortunately, I hate doing that. Allegedly,
I hate to say it too. No, I hate
because it's someone's job we're talking about. And
yeah, well, here's the thing. He escaped destruction last season. they looked terrible to start the season, and then they went 7-9. Like,
I know. I don't know.
So he better start off strong, or they might not make that mistake again.
Falcons don't get caught in that mediocre trap. I'm telling you, 8-8 doesn't look good after 15 years. So.
Yep.
All right,
absolutely right.
NFC East, Tyler.
Yes, to the NFC East.
All right, you want to talk Philly?
Let's talk Philly.
All right, so we're like 2 weeks, maybe like 3 weeks removed from the draft. This Jalen Hurts pick still doesn't make any sense to me.
Don't understand it. With
And
the QB factory that is Philadelphia.
Listen. I have come around to the Jalen Reagor pick because we were all screaming for Justin Jefferson at the time. But you know what? In this draft class,
preferences are preferences.
Preferences are preferences, and I can't fault someone for wanting to go with a different skill set in their receiver. Jalen Hurts still doesn't make any sense to me, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a second-round draft pick, and there were so many different holes that they had on the defensive side of the ball. I'm watching the so Amazon, NFL Films and Amazon worked. They do the All or Nothing series with an NFL team each year, and this past season was the Eagles, and I'm on week 5, and since week 2, all of their starting secondary, with the exception of Malcolm Jenkins, has been hurt and gone. Like, they need secondary, and the fact that they prioritized a quarterback that, again, best case scenario, doesn't see the field. Same thing with Jordan Love. Doesn't see the field in a best case scenario. It's irresponsible to me. It's irresponsible. Like, it's a fireable offense to me.
Yo, it's stupid.
It's not only stupid. If I am the owner and this doesn't work out in a year, I'm firing you. Like, this is a gross misjudgment. This is a gross incompetence of how an NFL draft value works. I'm getting heated. I'm not an Eagles fan, bro.
Yeah,
I don't care. Like, I am angry about this.
It doesn't make sense to me because you finally get Nick Foles out from the building. Now, Nick Foles has a statue for Philadelphia, as he should. He won them a Super Bowl. Like,
should they? Here's my thing. I have beef with this because should they have put up a statue of Nick Foles the year after they won the Super Bowl, or should they have waited until the Carson Wentz run was over and waited until either Carson Wentz retired or was run out of Philly to then put up a monument? Maybe wait 10 years. Oh, in the 10th anniversary of the Philly special, we'll put up the.
See, Sergio, you gotta stop because that makes too much sense.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just like taking a secondary player when I think Antoine Winfield Jr.
Like a position of need.
Yeah, in the second round makes too much sense.
Freaking backup quarterback.
Agitated, bro.
And also they let Jalen Hurts pick his number. They picked 2. Like
that's it. It's over for Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz already has to work magic on the field because of the roster he's on.
Oh my god!
Like, what are you asking him to overcome number odds?
It's
like,
so
2 is a better number than 10. So like,
it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing that they are just not handling Carson Wentz the same way. They paid him the money, 1,000%. Yes, they should have paid the money. Carson Wentz is the perfect face of a franchise. Again, I'm watching the documentary series right now. That man does not say one bad thing. That man is always saying, we're going to work, more competition is good. This is great. He said to Jalen when he welcomed, he tweeted out, welcome, brother. I appreciate you coming in, get to work and stuff like that. That man is the perfect face of the franchise. They should be building a team around him. They should not be bringing in these quarterbacks that are just good enough to get by, but are clearly nowhere near his level. Backup quarterback is not the third or fourth most important position on your roster.
Here's the thing, like, if Jalen Hurts is somehow available in the 4th round, okay.
Pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger. You don't need him. You have a franchise quarterback.
If your excuse to me is, yeah, but Carson Wentz always gets hurt, then that's on you. You shouldn't have given him a boatload of money then. I'm sorry, but you paid him the money saying this is our guy. Therefore, we have to build our team around like this. If you're concerned about the injury, you don't pay him as much money. And then you do this.
That I was like, you should never be building a team around the hypothetical of injury.
Correct.
Like, because those happen, and you can't. And like, it's good to have it's always good to have backups in case that happens. But you cannot live in fear of that.
There's a difference between having depth. There's a difference between having good depth on a football team than going out of your way.
Inviting.
Exactly. inviting that fear.
Inviting that sort of fear and challenge. And, like, outside of the Jalen Hurts pick, they picked some good players.
Yeah. It was a pretty good draft around that. Other than the Hurts pick, it was a good. It's just this Hurts pick is it's
heightened because it not only is wasted on a position you don't need at a premium pick at a second rounder. It invites this. Like, we're talking about it.
We should not be talking about this.
We should not be spending this time on a team that neither of us follow.
Especially in Philadelphia, the most. Listen, Philadelphia, the Philadelphia sports media is like, and this is in no way disrespectful. Like, this is not something. What I'm about to say is not just meant for disrespect or anything. I actually admire it. I would be honored to work in the Philly sports market. The Philly sports market is like that scene in Finding Nemo where the shark smells one droplet of blood and then he goes crazy.
Yeah.
That is what Philly sports media is like. And this is the one little drop of blood.
Yeah, we don't need it.
You don't need it, man.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on.
A good Jalen Reagor pick. I like the Prince Tega Wanogo pick in that 6th round offensive tackle. Could develop into something good.
Clemson was a good pick.
Yep. Who else do I like? I don't remember John Hightower as much out of Boise State. I think the Boise State narrative this season was their quarterback carousel. How every quarterback they played was somehow good. I didn't really scout him as much or see as much as I want, so I can't really give a good opinion on that. So, Kevon Wallace, good cornerback out of Clemson, the other side of that AJ Terrell secondary. So,
yeah.
All right, I guess that's it on the Eagles.
Yeah, we're done. We got to move on.
I gotta breath in, breath out.
Let's move to the Cowboys.
Let's move to the Norman Cowboys. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys' first round draft pick was CeeDee Lamb. He's wearing number 88.
I personally, I love it.
Hall of Fame career confirmed?
Absolutely. Like, what are you talking? When Mike McCartney, when Lincoln Riley wins, okay, let's time it out here. Okay, so it's gonna be about probably like 4 years. Okay, so when Lincoln Riley wins another 4 straight Big 12 titles, at least one national championship.
Time out.
What? Yeah.
I love Oklahoma. It's got a special place in my heart. My brother's a recent graduate.
They're going to win one. Lincoln Riley is going to win one national championship at Oklahoma. Mark the tape. He's going to win one at Oklahoma. No,
all right.
Like, I'm not saying they're going to beat Alabama.
we might have to have a Waffle House bet on this.
No. It's going to take some time, but they will win one national championship.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'm just trying to think. Okay, after about 4 years, he's won 4 big titles. He's got one national championship. It's time to move on. He goes to Dallas. CeeDee Lamb has already had 4 great years. So Lincoln Riley comes as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. They probably got a different quarterback at that point.
What if a quarterback?
I love Dak Prescott, but I don't know if it's going to be that. If he's going to be there that long.
What if the quarterback is Spencer Rat, whatever
Rattler,
the kid who's going to be a sophomore this year?
Great last name. It's a freaking great last name.
Spencer Rattler, and he's from Arizona too, which is even better.
Oh. Anyway, we're not even talking about the draft class at this point.
Nope.
Anyway, no. Never thought the CeeDee Lamb pick would happen. I will say, I like it in the sense of surrounding your quarterback with weapons. It's always important.
Always.
They just got so they have Amari Cooper, they have Michael Gallup in the slot. Now they have CeeDee Lamb. I think Dak Prescott is a lot better than a lot of other people think he is. But like, he's still the type of quarterback that needs weapons. So this was good. I also think, I mean, it has to be pointed at the Cowboys. They're like, we're not going to let CeeDee Lamb fall to the Eagles.
Yeah, I think this. I don't want to say this.
You guys were taking him, and I don't think 19 was taking him, and Jacksonville wasn't taking him.
If the Cowboys didn't take CeeDee Lamb here, he was going to be a Philadelphia Eagle, or someone was going to trade up with maybe like Dolphins may have traded. We may have done that.
Yeah, they may have traded out of that.
I like the pick. So going back to your Lincoln Riley thing, Lincoln Riley's coaching this team in 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
That's where I was going with that.
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page. I like this class.
It's good. I like this pick. Neville Gallimore out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, and that was another pick that I did like. Remember, Oklahoma the defense improved significantly last year, like from like 118th to like 56, which while 56 is not a national championship,
it's a big difference.
It's not a national championship caliber defense. It is definitely an improvement from 120. Neville Gallimore was the good player, the pretty good player that was on the defensive line. Kenneth Murray was in the linebacker secondary crew. I like that pick. I like the Trevon Diggs pick, cornerback out of Bama. He was someone who didn't get as much attention, but definitely a solid pick, second rounder. And then the rest, I think, is just kind of filler picks, but I think those top three really do a good job. I think the whole thing with CeeDee Lamb, if they didn't take CeeDee Lamb, they would have taken Caleb on because they would have needed that edge help.
Oh, absolutely.
They take Bradley Anaye out of Utah, which apparently this is supposed to be one of the steals of the draft in the 5th round. Because apparently this guy is the leader in
He's the all-time
sacks.
sack leader at Utah.
I was gonna say franchise leader, but I'm like, Utah's not these college teams aren't franchises. The all-time sack leader at Utah was a menace in the backfield, captain at Utah, so you know he's gonna be kind of produced. I feel like in a couple years we're gonna be like, how did this guy go in the 5th? You know?
Yeah.
So good pick for them.
I can see that. Yeah.
It worked out for them because they got Bradley Anya in the 5th round. They went best player available. They're like, we're not gonna let Carson Wentz to CeeDee Lamb be what we hear for the next 8 years.
Which was smart.
Which I get it. Good idea with them.
Anyway.
All right,
So
you want to move to
moving on from that,
New York, right?
To the Giants.
Cool.
One of the two New York teams, the one that you don't hate as much.
I tolerate the Giants. The thing with the NFC East rivals, and I guess I'll talk about this now.
They saved the Dolphins' perfect season.
I there's a soft spot in my heart for the New York Giants.
You gotta have a soft. I mean, I always have a soft spot.
And
for
even
Giants,
then,
like, good on you.
You know how the NFC East rivalries are supposed to be the most hated ones in all of football and stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
I just love watching that from a distance, man. So like, I don't even invest
absolutely.
myself emotionally on each side. I'm just like, if every game could be 48-41, that would be wonderful.
Well, the good thing about us as people,
as AFCers.
Well, yeah, but also our friends, our mutual friends.
Yes.
We have Cowboys and Eagles friends. So
yes, we do.
It's nice because we have like both sides. Not just like we have that one angry Eagles or one angry Cowboys fans. Like they get mad at each other.
Yeah,
and it's
fun to sit there
and eat popcorn.
Yeah,
and like
I would love to watch an Eagles Cowboys game with them. You know, we should do that for the pod one day. We'll talk. We'll talk after. We'll talk after.
Well, yeah, we'll talk. But the Giants draft class, a lot of picks, 10 picks. They drafted Andrew Thomas out of Georgia in the 1st, which was a good pick. They drafted Xavier McKinney in the 2nd, which I really like.
Great pick for the value.
Beyond that, some good players. T.J. Brunson all the way in the 7th, I think was a good value pick from South Carolina.
He gave us a little trouble. In our game.
The thing that's funny about save two. Okay, it's funny. We talk about the Panthers a lot. Save 2 picks, the Giants went all defense, and their 2 other offensive picks were tackles.
I feel like they realized the defense was a big problem, and the protection for Barkley and Daniel Jones was a problem.
Yeah.
And they addressed it.
If you watch Daniel Jones, his big thing, which he actually did a lot better than I thought he would last season, but his big thing, he's got like zero pocket awareness. Like he fumbles the ball all the time.
He's like Trask. He's like Trask was at the beginning of the year.
Like, he doesn't move around within the pocket, at least. And so if that's the case, I mean, it's always good to have good protection for your quarterback. It's very important if he's less so on the pocket presence side.
Right.
So I think it was smart. I think it was good to reinvest in the defense.
I agree. I think, and honestly, look at the Eagles. Carson Wentz. They revamped the entire wide receiver room. Not only to get Jalen Reagor, they got John Hightower, they got Quez Watkins. You know they're going to get Deshaun Jackson back next year, Alshon Jeffrey. That's a big wide receiver room. They completely revamped it. The Cowboys, we've talked about their offense and how it is incredible. The Washington football team, we'll talk about them in a second, but they have some kind of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. The Giants really realized, okay, look, we are going to zag where everyone is zigging. We're going to get the defensive players. We're going to shut them down, and we are going to stack that offensive line up so that we can take one of the best players, one of the players with the best talent in the entire league in Saquon Barkley, and just run the ball at people's throats.
Yeah.
So I get it. I respect it. Did what it is.
Yeah.
You want to move down to the DMV where I'm located?
Yes, sir.
All right, before we
Give
go
us
on,
your wisdom.
the news and the chatter here in the DMV area is that this was a phenomenal draft. But the problem is they're only looking at Chase Young. But even with that, they got Chase Young. So what else does it matter?
I mean, yeah, but the funny thing is like you can't pass up on Chase Young.
Not only that, Chase Young's a local kid. He's from Maryland, bro.
Yeah, but the other thing is that like they already had a really good defensive line, so it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But I sit there and I'm like, I mean, this was a bad team.
Some of these
the
picks.
second pick for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, now that being said, now Ron Rivera coaches the team, and so I have much better feel that it will be better coached.
Yeah.
Some of these picks I don't know if I liked though. Like,
I do like the Antonio Gandy Golden pick, the Liberty wide receiver. I was watching. They did a thing on him on Sports Center where apparently he can like solve a Rubik's Cube in like 15 seconds or whatever. Which isn't really that impressive anymore because once you learn the formula to the Rubik's Cube, you're fine. This is speaking from someone who does not know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, but whatever.
I don't know either.
He's got some speed. I went back and I looked him up. He's kind of like a Terry McLaurin type player, and they pair them up in that sense. What this draft tells me is that they're at least giving Dwayne Haskins this whole year. They're at least giving him an entire season to prove himself, similar to how I feel the Jags are going to do with Gardner Minshew. They're going to say, here's the whole year. Be a starter in this league for an entire season. Depending on how you do is how we're going to evaluate this going forward. And that makes sense with a brand new coach and a brand new staff and all that stuff with Ron Rivera. He's going to run the team how he wants to run it defensively and that kind of thing. So
yeah. No, so, I have to agree. Like, it's just going to be they're going to be not a great team next year, and we're going to see because the whole thing from what I've heard about the Jay Gruden thing is that Jay Gruden himself didn't want to draft Dwayne Haskins, and they did.
It was an owner's pick.
And so now you've got a coach who, in fairness, he did trade. As soon as Ron Rivera got to Washington, he did trade for Kyle Allen back from the Panthers.
That is true. That is true.
So,
he knows that if the going gets tough, he does have someone he relies on.
Yeah, but I do think they're basically like, let's just see how this first season goes. Let's see what happens, and then we'll adjust from there.
Yeah, agreed.
Moving on to the NFC West.
NFC West, baby.
The Seahawks. It was a Seahawks draft.
Yeah, I can't. It's the Seahawks.
It never makes sense, and yet they still win.
You know why?
Because of Russell Wilson.
Because of Russell Wilson. That's it. Like Russell Wilson is gonna make DJ Dallas a better pass catching running back than he is. Russell Wilson is gonna make Freddie Swain, Gator Great, a better wide receiver than he actually is. He's gonna make Colby Parkinson, this tight end out of Stanford, a better tight end than he actually is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These things happen.
Can we talk about how Steven Sullivan, one of the tight ends from LSU, got drafted and Thaddeus Moss didn't?
Yeah, that to me is Thaddeus Moss ended up in Washington, by the way. Another thing.
That was a good pick, I thought.
Another note to take. Yeah. I don't understand why Thaddeus Moss didn't get drafted above Steven Sullivan. When you look at Steven Sullivan, he was mostly in the run packages, and as we know, they didn't run a lot of football in LSU last year. It was interesting. I don't know. Maybe the Seahawks saw something where they want to pair up DJ Dallas in the backfield with Steven Sullivan running, being the blocking tight end. You never know. Yeah,
I'm interested to see because it's just a weird thing. They're just really freaking good.
I know.
And it's hard they draft. They're kind of like the Patriots in the sense of like Patriots always draft a little weirder than everyone else, but they just kind of make it work.
Because you want to know why? Because
Seahawks are the same way.
The Patriots have Bill Belichick and the Seahawks have Pete Carroll. And it is what it is, you know? And so I respect it. I like the Jordan Brooks pick at a linebacker, although they took Jordan Brooks, I think, before Patrick Queen. And that, to me, didn't sit well because Patrick Queen was clearly the best linebacker in this draft class.
I agree. No, I agree.
But they got a good guy. They got a good player.
Jordan Brooks is good. It's just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
If it works out, it won't matter.
I hope Freddie Swain gets a whole lot of touches this year. That's all I got to say.
I think he is going to get a lot of touches.
Me too. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch him there.
He's going to be that underneath target because you got DK Metcalf, you got Tyler Lockett.
I got DK Metcalf on my fantasy team now, baby.
Oh, shut up.
Thank you, medium income Bucks fan Tyler Renfro. Hey, let's head to Silicon Valley. Let's go to the Niners in San Francisco. This was a great draft class.
It's good.
This is a phenomenal draft class. Javon Kinlaw, they end up trading back. This is a team that didn't have a first-round draft pick this year. They end up trading with the Colts.
Where they traded DeForest Buckner to the Colts.
They end up getting that 13th. Then they end up trading back to secure another, I think it was 5th rounder, one spot with the Bucks. They take Javon Kinlaw, and then they end up having their own first-round draft pick. They get Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver out of Arizona State, who apparently he was their wide receiver 1.
Interesting.
Apparently he was their wide receiver 1.
That's a thing that you always, and that reminds me, and I talked about before, the thing you always got to remember is that like when scouts that are in the media judge players, they judge them from a general sense of talent.
Right.
But each team is Kyle Shanahan's going to judge players. He's going to have wide receiver 1 based off what wide receiver works best in his offense.
Yep, which makes sense. It's kind of how you should do it. Yeah. Unless it's a Chase Young type player that you know.
Stupid.
Unless it's a Chase Young player that you know clearly is the best player in this draft. Yeah, you kind of go draft via your scheme. You know, like when the Dolphins drafted Noah Igbahamami, you and I and the people we're watching the draft with were very much like, okay, interesting,
maybe,
but we got to just trust the system and see how they go. You know?
Yeah, and I think that's what they did here in this draft class. They also drafted another tackle, Colton Mikovits, I imagine is the way
West
you say
Virginia.
that name.
I think Mikovits.
And they drafted Charlie Warner out of Georgia, which is tight end out of Georgia is what I mean. He's not going to see the field.
It is what it is.
But they'd use a lot of tight ends and fullbacks in that offense. So it'll probably work. Mm-hmm. And then Juwan Jennings from Tennessee in the 7th round.
Juwan Jennings is a reliable wide receiver. Not the best, but you know what you're going to get from him every week. So I get it. I think
they're in a situation that they're in a very weird offense because they don't have Emmanuel Sanders anymore. They don't really have a bona fide. They have Deebo Samuel. But their wide receivers are a little different in that they factor into the run game a lot more.
Yeah, it's going to be more wide receiver by committee.
They drafted that.
Yeah.
And I think it was smart.
Yeah, I agree. It's more wide receiver by committee, I think, in an unorthodox sense. You want to talk about the Rams?
Yeah. Let's do it.
This was an interesting draft class. Listen, I'm very happy Van Jefferson went in the 2nd round. Go Gators.
Me too.
Love Van
Go
Jefferson.
Gators, always.
Cam Akers was a good pick. I don't.
You get rid of Todd Gurley, so you draft a running back.
But I think this is my thing with the Rams. I think their priorities are a little messed up.
I would agree.
They are valuing the more skill position players rather than investing in the offensive line. Look at these first 4 picks: running back, wide receiver, edge, safety. Those are star caliber type of players. They don't take an offensive lineman until pick 250 in the 7th round. They take Tremaine Ancrum out of Clemson, who, if I remember properly, was good. But
it's fine.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's your 7th round offensive tackle pick. Though.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
How much value? How much are you really getting at that point? And that's the problem. They're in LA, and they kind of. This is a hot take, I know, but I feel like when they left from St. Louis back to LA, they went from we are going to build from within to let's go get the flashy players we can market in LA.
Star power now.
Yeah, they're opening a new stadium.
Well, and that's the thing is that I would be more okay with it if they were going skill position heavy on offense. If it was like the team we're about to talk about next, where they ran a air raid, they ran a Cardinals,
Mm-hmm.
they ran a Cliff Kingsbury type offense that is very shotgun heavy and
that makes sense.
But Sean McVay doesn't run that. He runs. He does a lot of passing, a lot of creative stuff, but he also runs a lot from under center.
Mm-hmm.
and like bootlegs off of that, and there was the whole reason they got to the Super Bowl that one year, and they had all those successful offenses because the offensive line was good and Todd Gurley was allowed to run,
and catch the ball in the backfield.
And that allowed Jared Goff that built. Sean McVay's offense is so heavy on building off of the play that came before.
Right.
Like, and a lot of offenses do this, but his offense is very much predicated on it. And a lot of that is runs and using the offensive line. And that was the biggest part of their success that nobody wanted to acknowledge, was that their offensive line was great.
Right.
Now it's not. They've done nothing to fix it.
Yeah. And it's a shame.
And their offense is predicated on having a good offensive line.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like if Kyle Shanahan was just like, yeah, I'm going to completely ignore the line of scrimmage. And I'm like, but you run all the time. Like,
or it's as if Cliff Kingsbury was like, I don't need wide receivers. It's an air raid. Like,
yes, you need wide receivers. Like,
I don't know. That's my feelings on this draft class.
They drafted talented players. Just, I think it was a mistake of strategy.
Agreed. I agree with you on that. I hope the players do well. I hope Van Jefferson especially.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes.
Last one of the day.
Last one. We got the Cardinals. Cardinals end up... I like it.
It's fine.
It's fine. I think the big fish here is obviously Isaiah Simmons. I love the Josh Jones in the early third round pick. Yeah. But you know how I feel about Josh Jones. I think he's going to be a good player in this league.
I really like the Lakey Fotu and Rashard Lawrence picks.
Yeah, good picks.
Defensive line.
Line of scrimmage.
Evan Weaver from Cal, the linebacker, is more of just...
I don't remember him. That's my thing. I don't remember him.
He was like the 3-time NCAA tackle leader, like tackle by season. Like
Got it.
How many tackles in a season.
Okay.
But he is straight up like... He's not very sideline-to-sideline athletic. Like... He straight up is play really close to the line of scrimmage and just clog up the hole.
Okay.
So he tackled everything in front of him all the time. Problem is that in today's football, not just NFL, but football, that has become less valuable. So like I feel like they'll move him closer to like some sort of like super middle linebacker only on rundowns, which in the 6th round is fine.
So you end up drafting a 1 to 2 down back linebacker in the 6th. That's fine.
In the 6th, it's fine. And they got Eno Benjamin in the 7th.
How? I don't know because
I don't know.
We talked about him
what
slipping.
Eno Benjamin did. Like, I don't know how many unpaid parking tickets that guy has. But
hey, he's gonna prove someone wrong. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
He's gonna beat Kenyon Drake out of a job. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, hello.
I am on a rampage against former Dolphins right here. I am like you guys didn't like
you're not allowed to love us anymore.
No, not even close.
You're not allowed to share in this success that
if you can't deal with me at my worst, don't come to me at my best. That's what I'm going for.
You can't deal with me with my Jay Cutler. Don't come to me at my Tua Tagovailoa.
If you can't deal with me with the Dolphins are supposed to be the worst team ever at the beginning of that season, and you want to trade it out, don't talk to me. All right, that's it. That's all I'll talk about.
Speaking of Jay Cutler.
Tyler.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
You remember that?
Yes, please go ahead. Is this the tweet you're going to share with me?
This isn't my tweet I've shared. I just started thinking about it. Like,
all right, well, tell us about that, and then we'll go into tweets we've shared.
So Jay Cutler and Kristen Cavallari, who has the show Very Cavallari, which is like a live show. She's like an influencer. I don't know much about it. I'm not going to pretend to know much about it.
Yeah.
But they're married, and they just announced that they're getting a divorce. Which, by the way, Kristen Cavallari sent out this huge Instagram post about it, and Jay Cutler copied and pasted it. He pasted the exact same words and same picture. Later. And then I don't know if this next part is true, but it keeps getting thrown around. So it in the people's court, it's true. Kristen Cavallari now there because Jay Cutler is now retired from the NFL, so he's just doing nothing around because he's a millionaire. One day, Sergio. One day.
One day.
But it. Like, she wanted to buy their house, I think. Just buy their house from him. So he froze all of her bank accounts and said, get a job.
King!
I died.
I absolutely love it.
What? Where was this when he was playing quarterback?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Petty King.
Petty King.
They're both like insanely rich, so I don't feel bad about making fun of them.
At all. I don't feel bad at all. Tyler, let's transition over. What is let's do tweets you shared real quick. What's your favorite tweet you shared with me?
There's been a lot of good ones. My probably favorite one, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. It's one of by Mina Kimes.
Love Mina Kimes.
Yeah. It's like analytics Twitter when a team that paid a premium for their running back complains about paying their quarterback. It's that guy in the yellow suit who's behind the tree and he's just like, ooh, doing the Birdman hand rub. He's just like, oh, I'm about to go in. Like, yeah, I thought that was funny.
So very true.
Because I'm one of those well, like, as the Jacksonville Jaguars are kind of one of those teams because we drafted Leonard Fournette with a 4th overall pick, and people in our fan base had the audacity to complain about having a quarterback for cheap.
I know.
I'm waiting. It's going to happen. My friend of the pod, Mike Phillips, and I have talked about this. We've talked about this in front of you. Like, it's going to happen at some point this season. Gardner Minshew is gonna throw a single pick.
Oh yeah, I heard this.
And somebody's be like, "We should have never traded Foles," and I'll slap.
You know what's gonna be funny?
I will slap somebody.
You know what's funny? When that pick will come in like the second drive of the game, but then he'll like be like, all right, cool, I just gotta shake it off, and then he'll throw like 340 yards, 4 touchdowns, and it'll still be that one pick, and they'll be like, yeah, but you can't start a game like that, man. It's the second drive. That's like a bad way to start it off. It's like, all right, dude. Like,
see, it's making me so mad, but also I'm like, I can't wait for football to be back. So
me too.
I'm kind of craving it.
I know.
What's your tweet?
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cheat. I'm gonna give you 2, but for sentimental reasons.
Ahead. Do it. Go ahead.
The first one is, unfortunately, I got to go back to my Dolphin roots here. On May 4th, you sent me Barry Jackson's tweet. It was very sad news. Dolphins Hall of Fame coach Don Shula passed away this morning at age 90. One of his children confirmed. And just wanted to say a big shout out to Coach Shula. It was May 4th. Unfortunately, he's probably not going to get the funeral and celebration in South Florida he deserves given this COVID crisis. And I hope when it all goes down, when it all boils down and we're able to get fans back in seats and stuff, and people are able to go to Dolphin games, that there's a very nice ceremony for Coach Shula.
He deserves it.
Yeah, he's essentially responsible for the Dolphins as an organization. So, much love to you, Coach Shula. Rest in peace, and love to his family and everyone associated. On a brighter note, you sent me Ian Rappaport's tweet, which is quoting the Dolphins tweet, saying that someone asked for jersey numbers, and all it says, Ian Rappaport, Tua, number 1. And this is the moment when I confirm to Sideline Judgment, your boy has purchased his Tua jersey. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Important question. Is it a throwback?
It is not the throwback. It is the teal normal jerseys that we have. The throwbacks were just released right now. I think it's the latest tweet that I've sent you, Tyler.
It is.
Okay.
That's the reason I bring it up.
I haven't bought it yet. My regular Tua jersey is scheduled to arrive October 6th. And I know I sent you this the day that I bought it. But I can't justify spending another $100 on a jersey until I get that first jersey. But you best believe I'm going to buy a Tua throwback jersey.
Oh, absolutely.
I just got to, financially, I got to spread it out. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I got to spread it out. So I'm supposed to buy a car tomorrow. So, like, I got to spread everything out.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Just like casual drop in the news.
Just dropping the news.
Yeah, I'm supposed
to. I guess
to.
we're just dropping cool things.
We are.
I mean, I'm doing cool things too. You know, I'm sitting in my house doing nothing.
Come on, man. You know that's the coolest. The coolest.
It's pretty nice sometimes. Me and my roommate's cat have been getting real acquainted.
Incredible.
She's okay. Funny side story, real quick before we wrap this up.
Go ahead.
So I live in Panama City at the moment, and a friend and I live in like really close to the beach. We have our 2 little story apartment. Like bedrooms are downstairs, living room areas upstairs.
Right.
A little townhouse kind of thing. So you have a balcony that looks out, and we're the second row behind the beach.
Okay.
So you can kind of see the beach through the houses in front of us.
Oh, that's cool.
But we have a balcony. My roommate Rizen's cat, when we let her out in the balcony, she would go out of the railing and go to the other apartments because there's a little bit of space.
Like a cat.
So we bought Yeah, like a cat would. So we bought chicken wire and, like, barricaded the whole thing so we could let her out there to just, like, be out in the sun and not have to stress. She discovered the other day that she can jump up on the railing.
Are you serious, dude?
Yeah, no, because the bird kind of came by our balcony, and she just jumped up and tried to get it, and now she can, like, jump on the balcony, and I'm completely worried she's gonna fall off of our building.
Oh my god,
So,
bro!
I've been, like, closely monitoring her, and we, like, give each other the side eye when she jumps up. The first thing she does when she jumps on the railing is she turns back and she looks at me, and I'm looking at her.
She knows.
And we just kind of hold it. I was just like, don't fall off because you're not my cat, and, like, but I will feel bad about you.
Nah, man, you have to now build, like, a whole see-through wall type thing.
Oh yeah, no, we're getting some plexiglass from the zoo.
Okay. All right, Joe Exotic.
Oh yeah, remember when Tiger King was the thing?
I do remember. Remember when Nicolas Cage was cast as the guy to play Joe Exotic in a movie?
Oh my god, yeah, we never talked about that.
We don't have to. We don't have to.
Speaking of content that we both like,
Yes.
Me have been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I have been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and this
Where
is
are you now?
A little check-in. Last night we finished the Lin-Manuel Miranda cameo episode where he cameos as Amy's brother. So that means I'm on season 6, right?
Yeah,
I'm on season 6, and so there's finished 7, right?
Season 7 just ended,
and then you said
there will be a season 8,
and that's gonna be the last one, right?
They have not said that it's going to be the last one, but I'm imagining that it will.
Okay.
Just because, like, the way things are going. But there will at least be... You got to catch up before...
Oh, dude, I'll be caught up. What's today? Friday?
You've been, like, blowing through these things.
Oh,
like...
we watch probably, on average, 5 to 6 a night. And it's funny because, like, on Hulu, it tells you how many episodes are left until you're, like, caught up. And, like, when we first started, it was, like, 130. And then, like, the next day, it was, like, 120. We're like, okay, cool, wow. But now we're on, like, there's, like, 19, 20 episodes left till we're caught up. So we're like, oh, okay, awesome. And it's cool. It's funny to see, like, all the things happening so quickly and, like, all of the, like, pop cultural references and stuff. Like, that whole season when Amy, the actress who played Amy, was pregnant, but, like, the character wasn't pregnant, and they were doing everything in their power to, like, cover it. We were like, oh, no.
They sent her to the prison to pretend to be a pregnant woman. I was just like, genius.
And I was like, oh, that's her actual pregnant stomach. Wow, what a great choice.
See,
and then the next season, Gina, the actress who plays Gina, gets pregnant, and they actually, like, write her into the show. And I was like, oh, that was awesome.
Yeah. And actually, so it's a mild spoiler.
No, I don't know about...
Okay, I won't say it.
Don't say it.
No, I won't say it. No, I won't say it.
I might be caught up by the time we record next week's pod.
Oh, well, that'd be interesting.
We might.
Well, it's just something in that topic, but it's not important.
Okay.
I'm glad that you've come on this journey.
Thank you.
You're almost there to the
end.
Well,
it's not just me; it's my family as well. It's Raul, Diego, my mom, and I.
It's a freaking great show.
Yeah,
like,
it's really good. I like. I was gonna say something specific. Oh, I love the way they handled Rosa being bisexual.
I think it was perfect.
It was handled perfectly, and the character arc for Jake is incredible. He's like an actual human now, compared to the beginning.
That's one of my things that I love about the show is that, like, I always talk about it with my friends when I talk about the show. Is that what I like about it, as opposed to a lot of other cop shows, is that, like, one, as opposed to other comedies, like, they do grow as, like, people. Like, they start off as huge caricatures, and then they seriously, like, the writers do a good job of giving them personalities, but then giving them things that grow as they go on. And also, I like seeing cops do, like, normal stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Normal parts of their daily lives. But as funny as they are, they're all good cops.
Yeah, they're all great cops. Like, there's the whole thing. There's the whole aspect of one of the episodes we saw yesterday was the domestic violence, the sexual assault case. And the way that the actress who played Amy was just handled it all, I was like, oh my God, wow. Like, there was depth to it. It was really good. Like, it was really, really, really well done.
Yeah. So it's a good show.
It's a good show.
We recommend it to everyone.
Yes, we do. Last thing I'll say about this, I am in love with Amy. Like, anytime Amy's on screen, I'm like this. My, like, head in the hand.
Dude,
like,
you're going through the emotions that I went through, like, 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. Dude, Amy's my like. Every time she says game, I'm just like, I love you so much.
Just like, I love her so much. Love her so much.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she's the best.
Alrighty, man.
All right.
Tyler, we're going to be back next week. What we're going to talk about...
We're going to be back next week.
What we're going to talk about, we don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
We're going to find out.
I'm gonna throw some ideas out to you off air. I'll text you some ideas. Maybe some games we'll play. Maybe some rewatching of some games.
This is the fun part of the off season.
This is the fun part of the off season. So we'll see what happens. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. I can guarantee you that, listeners. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun.
We promise. Tyler, is there anything else that you want to say before we sign off?
Not really. Just everyone stay safe. We know things are winding down, but continue to practice social distancing and all that good jazz.
Wear your mask. Wash your hands. All that stuff.
Wear your masks. Wash your damn hands.
Yep.
Yeah, just hope you. Thank you for listening to the episode, and check in next week.
Hell yeah, of course you can. We will be back next week. We'll see what we'll talk about. Until then, this has been yet another episode of Sideline Judgment. My name is Sergio.
My name is Tyler.
And we are not biased, but go Dolphins winning a Super Bowl in the swamp.